Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has now officially challenged the result that saw Bola Tinubu of the ruling APC declared winner. It's said to be action-packed, with all the gladiators raring to go. Well, Peter Obi has already hinted at what his team of lawyers will bring to the table in his attempt to have the panel upturn the election result. Arise correspondent Godfrey Eshemoge paints a picture of the impending legal battle.
Presidential election petitions are filed 21 days after announcement of the results, with a 180-day timeline within which to dispose of the case. Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), who emerged runner-up behind the winner Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, is already contesting the declared results in Nigeria's keenly contested elections of recent. But Peter Obi, who emerged third, is by far the most vocal of all four top contenders who were in the run-up for Nigeria's top job. The electoral traction which the Labour Party presidential candidate had gained in recent months was largely due to the huge activities by his popular supporters known as the Obedients. But with the case shifting to the courtrooms now is a different ball game. Key among the submissions in Peter Obi's petition is INEC's computation and declaration of results, including the announcement of Bola Tinubu as winner, which he claims did not comply with INEC guidelines, and as such affected the votes meant for the Labour Party. The Labour Party candidate is also contending that at the time of the conduct of the presidential election, Tinubu was not qualified to run due to a pending lawsuit against him, and for his running mate, Kashim Shettima, who was still a serving senator when he ran for office, he alleged that it is in clear breach of the Electoral Act, and in consequence, Peter Obi, among other prayers, is asking the tribunal to issue him a certificate of return as the duly elected Nigerian president, or in the case where it cannot do so, he is urging the panel to cancel the entire election and hold fresh polls of which the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be on the ballot. Godfrey Eshemoge, Arise News.
Well, Arise legal analyst Chinwe Izegbe joins us now for more on this. Chinwe, good to see you and thanks for your time. Finally, the battle is here, but again, we need to quickly establish this. It's not about looking at the matter that is in court. We're trying to look at some of the key concerns that may come up on D-Day. So, Chinwe, help us paint a picture of what this will mean for Nigeria's democracy as the Labour Party goes to the court.
Hello, Ngozi. Hello, Salami. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead.
Good. Now, you know that the Presidential Election Tribunal is one that has been constituted under the Nigerian Constitution. At the same time, we have very strict time bounds within which the tribunal must comply, and all parties, including the applicant and the respondent, they both must comply with very strict time limits, and what we lawyers refer to as sui generis, which means time bound, and which means that each party must file their petition within a specified time limit. So all lawyers have very, very strict compliance. They must comply with all the Electoral Act, regulations and statutes. For example, even though we do not want to speak so much about the varied details of the case, we can actually refer to Section 134 of the Electoral Act, which states exactly what the grounds must be. So before a petition is filed, either at the tribunal, by the NAS, or by the Presidential Election Tribunal, by the president-elect who is actually contesting the election, we must look at Section 134 of the Electoral Act. Now that says, in effect, that first ground that must be established without being sub judice is that the candidate who was elected did not comply with the age, or there was no prior prerequisite qualification. That is the first ground. The second ground is that there were corrupt practices in respect of the election and in respect of the electoral process. And the third ground is that the candidate did not qualify with a lawful number of votes cast. In other words, the candidate did not have majority of lawful votes. Now, those three grounds under Section 134 of the Electoral Act must be sufficiently established before the tribunal in cases of the NAS and Governorship Election Tribunal cases, or in the cases of the Presidential Election Tribunal at the Court of Appeal. Now, there are time limits which must be established.
Right.
The first one is that 21 days is all they have to comply from the date that election results have been declared to the first date of the hearing. Now, those 21 days started from 1st of March, as we know. So from 1st of March, it should expire by today. So petition must be filed by Peter Obi by latest today. Then also, they have 60 days within which to lodge their appeals from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court in cases of Presidential Election Tribunal cases. Now, for the NAS and Governorship Election Tribunals, they have 180 days from the date of the first hearing to the last date of the decision that's been made by the tribunal or the court.
Right.
So there are very strict time limits, Ngozi,
Fantastic,
which must be complied with.
And thank you so much for breaking it down for us. Let's bring in Frank Tietie to help us deepen it even further. Frank, good to see you. You've been on top of this for a while now. Well, first off, what do you make of Peter Obi going to court on the prayers, the two prayers that he made, and the grounds on which he is approaching the court?